Do you ever catch yourself being kind of mean to yourself? Like not even on purpose, it just happens. You spill coffee, you forget something, or you miss a deadline, and that voice kicks in. You're like, really? Again? Why are you like this? Get yourself together. I don't know about you, but I've been noticing how casually brutal my inner voice can be. It's unnecessary sometimes. And nowadays, I was thinking, I need to learn how to be more kind to myself again. You know, not in the cheesy Instagram quote way, but in the quiet, honest, uncomfortable, and real way. The kind of kindness that actually means something. When people around me are struggling, my friends, my family, I always make sure to kind of help them in the best way possible. But when I think about myself, when I'm struggling, when I'm not really doing well mentally, I don't really show up to myself. And I thought that was weird. Why do I never show up to myself the way I do with my friends and family? Why do I not prioritize myself sometimes? And most of the time, I think I can handle it until it gets too much and gets too overwhelming. And I'm like, okay, I get this burnout and I'm like done for a while. Why do I ever let myself get to that point? There was a moment recently where I caught myself saying things in my head like, you're actually so behind. You should get your life figured out. People in your age, a lot of your friends are already working. They have internship in this company and they're doing pretty well for themselves and you're not. Why are you like this? And I realized that if someone else said those words to me, I'd get really hurt. I would just go back to my defense mechanism where I just kind of isolate myself and not do anything about it. We let ourselves say those things all the time, silently, repeatedly, without even noticing. And I think that voice is fear. It's comparison. It's many years of high expectation and low grace. And that's exhausting. Part of why we're so hard on ourselves is because we're surrounded by this constant noise, you know, whether online, offline, from people who mean well, from people who don't. You know, there's always this pressure to be productive, successful, inspiring, social, all at once. And if you're not, you feel like a failure. But I think the truth is, progress doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like doing the same thing over and over again until it finally sticks. Sometimes it looks like crying, sleeping in, taking a break, and trying again the next day. And to me, honestly, I think that still counts. You're not doing it wrong just because you're doing it slow or messy. Some days you make progress, and other days you just kind of survive, and that's okay. There was a time when I felt completely stuck when I was studying for my transferring exam. I was in this weird in-between space, not where I was, but definitely not where I wanted to be. I couldn't really tell if I was making progress or just wasting my time. Sometimes I would just study the whole day just to feel like I didn't do enough at the end of the day. The fact that I knew that no matter how much I worked, the result might not turn out the way that I want it to be. But when I look back at it now, that stuck season was one of the most important phases of my life. Because that season really taught me how to sit with myself, to stop distracting myself from discomfort, and to start actually listening to what I was feeling. And I remember every time when I didn't have the favorable results from the weekly exams that I took, I always blamed myself, you know? I was like, why are you so stupid? I was like, how can you study that much and still forget at the moment that really mattered? Like, what are you gonna do with your life if you can't even get this thing done? I was being so hard on myself. Sometimes the kindest thing that you can do for yourself isn't to fix, it's just to let yourself be. It's realizing that sometimes you can make mistakes. No matter how hard you practice, no matter how much you try, you can still fail. And sometimes it's giving yourself permission to rest even when your schedule is full. And sometimes it's saying, I'm not really okay right now. And letting that be a valid answer. At the end of the day, it's choosing to believe that you're allowed to be a work in progress and still worthy of love and peace right now, not just when you've arrived. So whenever I'm being hard on myself, I kind of pause and ask myself, if my friends said this about themselves, what would I say to them? Because I know I'd never say, you're a failure. You should be over this by now. Why can't you be better? I'd say that, hey, you're doing your best. I know this is hard, but I'm proud of you for holding on. And you don't need to prove anything to deserve rest. So why can't we say that to ourselves? Maybe today's the day we start. Be kinder to yourself. You're allowed to slow down. You're allowed to not have everything figured out. And you're allowed to be kind to yourself, even on those days when you don't really feel like you deserve it. Because I feel like that's exactly when you need it the most. Even just for a moment, try giving yourself the same grace, the same patience, the same gentleness you'd offer to someone you love. Because you're not broken, you're becoming. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Take care of yourself, truly, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.